Hello, everyone. I just want to make a short video about the Module 3 essay on Plato and Landsberg. This is a difficult section of the course, and this is a difficult question. This is a 500-word essay, which is, I understand it's hard to answer these sort of questions in 500 words. It's too short, and I understand that. So I don't expect, this is a huge question I'm asking you here about the respective cases that Plato and Landsberg make for immortality. That could be a book. That could be a very long book. So to do it in 500 words, almost impossible. So I recognize that. That being said, it's still the assignment. And so what do you need to do? First of all, when you're writing a short essay, that has an actual question, that has a prompt, you want to get down to business pretty quickly because you don't have much space to waste. You want to get right into your answer. And the answer here is, generally speaking, is going to have to be kind of general. That is, you're not going to be able to get into the details of all of Plato's different ideas about the immortality of the soul. That would be impossible. So don't go through some kind of mechanical review of the different arguments that Plato offers, or that Socrates offers in Plato's dialogue. You want to get a general sense of what Plato's approach was, of how he approached the issue of immortality, and generally speaking, how he tried to prove the immortality of the soul. So however you have to make your decisions about, what was Plato about? What was that dialogue about? What in general was it trying to do, and how was it trying to do it? So don't just mechanically go through a superficial mention of a bunch of Plato's different arguments in the Phaedo. Give a more general commentary on what Plato was up to in that dialogue. Also, focus on the question. The question is about the case that each of them makes for immortality. And by that, I mean immortality of the soul, or survival of death, or life after death. Focus on that question. There's a lot of different things in Landsberg that might not directly be relevant to that question. I think everything in Landsberg actually does connect up with his case for life after death, for the Christian idea of immortality, but it has to be connected. So you can't just sort of give me some account of some things that Landsberg said without connecting that up to the question that's asked, which is his case for immortality. Landsberg doesn't really make his case for immortality until section 5. So sections 1 through 4 are a way of starting to develop the problem. So if you're just giving some information, let's say about just some things he says early on, it's not really going to answer the question. You have to have a more comprehensive view. And I would say that of each of these authors, you have to develop some, through your reading, through looking at the videos, through try to answer the study questions, you're going to have to come to a more comprehensive view of each of these authors. So you could maybe explain their general approach to somebody who asks, well, what's that book about? Well, in this book, Socrates, on the day of his death, tries to prove to his friends that death is not the end, that the soul is immortal. And this is his general way of doing it. And what is Landsberg about? What's about, the experience of death? Moreover, it's about the Christian view of death, and this question that he sets up about whether or not the dead still exist in some way, and whether we can have hope that we still exist after we go through death. You're going to have to just get some kind of comprehensive view of each of them. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to mention everything that they say that's of importance about death. Certainly, that would be impossible in a 500-word essay. So what you're doing is really saying, when it comes to this idea of immortality, I'm more of a Platonist or a Landsbergian, because they are two very different approaches, right? This they both believe in survival. They both believe in some kind of life after death, but in very different conceptions of it, right? And keep in mind, you should know your Landsberg. That Landsberg actually discusses Plato with great respect, but he gives his reasons for thinking that Plato misunderstood the whole notion of death, and immortality. So that's the kind of awareness that I expect you to have. Again, you can't go into everything in 500 words, obviously, but I expect you to have some kind of comprehensive view of each one of these texts, so that you can give an intelligent answer to this question. Which, again, I know it does not be perfect, because it's a very difficult question, but you do have to have kind of a take on Plato and a take on Landsberg that shows that you've sort of gone through their paths of thinking and achieved some kind of more comprehensive view, so that you can answer a question like this.